Hi, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Roman.
And this is Parafries, where a pair of guys share some fries as we paraphrase in paradise.
Let's go.
Today's story we are looking at is the story of King Saul. We're going to call it The Rise and Fall of Saul.
I love it. Rise and fall of Saul. So here we go. We also have Sonic French fries.
Pretty good.
You could say that this has been the rise and fall of Sonic French fries as they've been in our possession because they started out good, but now they're not very good.
Because they're kind of cold.
So, rewind the old timetable way back to the beginning of the Bible.
Well before Jesus.
The book of 1 Samuel is where the story comes from, okay?
After Egypt.
After they get, we got the Israelites, right? Mm-hmm. They're enslaved in Egypt. They get delivered from Egypt. They're wandering in the wilderness for a long time. Then they settle in the promised land. They get broken up into all these tribes.
12 different tribes, to be exact.
This is kind of where the story begins.
Yeah. Samuel was the prophet of Israel. And all the Israelites are like...
I'll play an Israelite.
Okay, right? Yeah, I'll be Samuel.
Hey,
I'm Samuel.
What's going on here? All the other guys, they got kings. Why don't we got a king? Give me a king. Look at the Philistines and the Amorites. Everyone's got a king except for us. Where's our king?
Let me talk to God about that. So Samuel ends up going to God and praying to God about these requests made by whoever that guy was.
The people of Israel.
The people of Israel. And he goes to God and is like, hey, Israelites really want a king. And so God's like, yeah, sure.
He grants their request.
Do whatever you want.
See what happens.
You want a king? Take a king.
Go your own way.
Yeah. See how that works out for you.
So then they got to pick a king. They're not going to hold an election. That's not how they did it back then.
Nope. Basically, they were just like,
who looks like a king?
Who should be king?
Who looks like a king around here?
And it wasn't going to be 4-foot Phil, just balding in the back of the line.
Phil he'd make a terrible king.
Move over, Felonius. You're a terrible king. So you're looking around this crowd of people like, man, we should really pick a king.
There's one guy who's a head and shoulders taller than everybody else. And he's built too. He's stacked. Think of like Chris Hemsworth.
Yes, he was very Hemsworthian.
Then they're like, hey, if anybody could be king, it's definitely that guy.
Look at that.
I mean, you saw Chris Hemsworth in a crowd, he definitely should be the king. So Samuel anoints King Saul to be king.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the story.
No, that's definitely not the end. At the beginning, it looked really great. King Saul was winning all these battles.
Started very strong.
He was going real strong.
Palace, money,
Israel.
War hero. Probably has a Tesla. A Tesla, a horse
named Tesla.
Yeah.
Everything's going real great until one specific battle. Samuel's like, hey, before we go into that battle, hold tight. I'll be there in a bit. Gonna make a quick sacrifice, and then we can get on our merry way with all the killing and the conquering and such.
And because back in the day, sacrifices were a real big deal to God. Meanwhile, Saul is hanging at the battlefield, waiting around.
He had been king for a bit at this point, and I think a little bit of pride started to creep in.
Hey, my name's Pride. Can I hang out in your heart?
I'm the king.
I'm the king of the Israelites.
And I'm waiting on this guy to come and do a sacrifice. You know what? I'm gonna do the sacrifice.
I've seen Samuel do the sacrifice 100 times. How hard could it be?
So Saul makes this sacrifice. Samuel's like, you resisted God.
Yeah.
You took things into your own hands.
You really messed up, guy.
You're a proud, prideful man.
So we gotta ordain a new king.
And now God has rejected you as king, so time to get a new one.
So Samuel goes and finds David. You probably heard of him.
Yeah. All of a sudden, David starts to rise through the ranks as Saul's still just kind of...
Saul's over here at his king table eating a turkey leg. Probably getting a little pudgy from all the king food he's eating.
Yeah.
And he sees David being this war hero and everyone loves David. They're like, Saul's killed thousands, but he's killed 10,000s. We like David.
And Saul starts to slip into this slow decline. Actually, not really slow. It's pretty quick. He's just spiraling. He starts trying to kill David at like every turn.
He's always trying to throw spears at him.
David's like playing the harp, like...
Speared.
Whoa!
That happened more than once, like 3 times or something.
Yeah, but David kept coming back because he was like...
Surely you won't throw another spear at me.
And lo and behold...
Speared again.
Speared.
God protected David, kept him alive, and Saul just kept missing with those spears.
Just keeps on going downhill from there. Eventually there is a battle where Saul is fighting, gets caught by a stray arrow.
As he's on the ground, on his knees, with an arrow sticking out of him, he sees one of his other soldiers and says,
hey, Phil.
Probably Phil, yeah. Felonius, come take my life. I'm taking this in my own hands. He asks this guy to run him through with a sword. And Saul meets a bloody end. What a bummer for Saul.
So did poor Phil, actually.
He did, yeah. David ended up executing
because he
him.
killed the king,
Yeah.
he executed that guy.
Even though he was asked to do it. It's kind of a gray area.
Really
if
a
you ask
moral
me.
gray area. Feel kind of bad for Phil, let's be honest.
It actually wasn't Phil.
Some guy.
Some guy. He's in the Bible.
You can look it up later.
Read it
It's
for
in
yourself.
1 Samuel.
Yeah, and that, my friends, is the rise and fall of Saul.
Are we going to have a graphic for that, or?
No graphic.